English, benim. Novak, I know you've been coming here to Melbourne for a long time to this tournament, more than 20 years, and I'm just curious sort of what you make of the evolution of this place and the vibes of this tournament. There's been a lot of talk about they're smashing attendance records constantly, and there's also complaints on the other side that it's gotten overcrowded and it's hard to get into courts, and things have gotten maybe too corporate or too commercial on certain different sides of this tournament. So I'm wondering from your perspective as a veteran of this place who's seen the years go by here and just lots of different tennis angles, like what you make of that sort of push-pull between excitement over growing and the idea that something's being lost by maybe being overstuffed or getting too crowded, too corporate, too commercial, too sort of profit-centric at times.
Having too much crowd on this or any other tennis tournament is a very good problem to have. I think there are much worse problems to have. So I think every tournament wants record-breaking attendance and ticket sales, and that's what I've been hearing actually this year and the last couple of years for most of the slams and tournaments. So I mean, it's a good sign. I mean, obviously we want more attention, more people coming and wanting to watch the tennis live and follow it and live stream, etc. Obviously I don't know the possibilities of further expanding the facilities or not. I'm not obviously familiar with that dynamic, but I like what I have seen as evolution of this tournament. I like when the tournament is nurturing a mindset of always wanting to improve and get better in terms of facility, providing better conditions for players to practice, play, recover. And that's what I've been seeing. I mean, first time I came over to Australia, for the juniors, 2003, I think, or something like that, 2005 for the professional.
Have you ever thought that winning everything could slowly turn into a burden, or that being famous could feel like a cage with no exit? What you're about to hear is not a routine media comment. This is a sharp and honest breakdown of a reality that is both alarming and impressive at the same time. Novak Djokovic, the tennis icon who has experienced every level of the sport, has finally spoken up about what truly goes on behind the curtain. In Melbourne, get ready, because what he revealed about the disorder, the pressure, and the rise of Filipino star Alex could completely change how you see tennis. Is this a serious failure in organization or simply the unavoidable cost of greatness? And why does Djokovic believe that extreme crowding is actually a blessing? Let us break it all down. It began with a simple question about change and atmosphere, but Novak's answer took everyone decades back to a very different time. Imagine a young Novak around 2003 or 2005, the exact year matters less than the setting back. Then there were no modern glass buildings or high-tech facilities. Players trained in a basic gym owned by the Collingwood Football Club, sharing ice baths and equipment in a borrowed space across the road. Djokovic looks back on that era with a mix of disbelief and pride at how far things have come from those modest roots. The venue grew into a massive national tennis center, complete with indoor courts, advanced recovery areas, and dining spaces that feel like luxury resorts. Australia did not just host tennis, they built a powerhouse, but growth brings crowds, and that leads us to the issue everyone quietly talks about: overcrowding. Has the tournament become too cramped? Has business taken over the spirit? Fans complain about packed walkways, long waits, and difficulty entering courts. Novak's response was blunt. He admitted it is a problem, but also said it is the best kind of problem to have. To him, sold-out tickets and full stands are signs of life, not failure. He warned that empty seats and silence would be far worse. That would be the real danger. The discussion then turned to the most debated moment involving Alex, the rising star from the Philippines. What happened around her match was not just poor planning, but an explosion of support that no one fully expected. Djokovic openly acknowledged that the scheduling may have been wrong. A player representing an entire nation was placed on a small court. Picture thousands trying to watch, supporters filling every space, and organizers scrambling to cope. Djokovic views this chaos as proof of something bigger: a young player carrying the hopes of a massive country stepping into history. The disorder, the pressure, and the crowd around her were signs that tennis is still alive and growing. Yes, the early rounds are difficult to manage with limited space and packed schedules. It is stressful and overwhelming, but Djokovic believes that no audience at all would be the true disaster in the end. His message is simple: growth is Messy progress creates tension, but the alternative is decline. We are entering a new era where tradition meets a wave of global fans and rising stars. The real question is, would you rather sit comfortably in a quiet, half-empty stadium or push through the crowd to witness history as it happens? Because that choice may shape the future of the sport.
And I remember we were using the Gym B, as it was called, which was across the road. Forgot what the name of that AFL club is, Essendon, maybe, something like that. Sorry? Collingwood, sorry, my bad. I know there's a big rivalry, so I apologize. And, so they were allowing the Australian Open to use their facilities and the bigger gym, ice baths and everything. And then obviously there was an expansion of the facilities with the National Tennis Center, with indoor courts, more practice courts, better recovery, more locker rooms, better facilities for the player dining. So all positive signs, to be honest. I think Australia has always been one of the best in that. So I don't see any negatives there. And now it's really about how do you find balance and how do you manage the amount of people that is entering the premises, and whether I saw the other day with Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's big interest. So things like that happen. I mean, it's you could argue that it was maybe a poor schedule, and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's so young and she's just coming through. So and obviously the first couple of rounds, the schedule is so packed. The big courts with big names, it's difficult. It's not easy to manage that. But again, it's a good problem to have, to be honest. Let's just imagine if there's a lack of people coming, or that stands are empty. That's a bigger problem. I mean.